Welcome, American truckers. Welcome to Trucking with Old Snapper. And I am your host, Old Snapper. You got here my point of view, what I see when I'm chilling in the truck in the evenings. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff that the YouTubers like to say. Don't forget to ring that bell so you get notified of new videos coming up as they arrive. I don't know if y'all hear it, but if y'all can, there's a reefer running next to me. That's the engine you hear in the background. It cuts off and on. It's on cycle century. But this was the only parking spot in here, and I didn't want to nose in because I'm right in front of the fuel island. You know, so I didn't want to have to nose in. This is why most flatbedders and dry box drivers don't like parking next to reefers. It's noisy. It's close to our sleeper. We hear that crap all night. We're not used to it. It messes with our sleep. That's just the deal. That's how it goes. That's what it is. Hopefully y'all enjoy this point of view of what I see when I'm chilling in the evenings. Never know, one of y'all watching this video might come walking across the parking lot anytime. Hopefully y'all are dressed, because this is a G-rated YouTube show. We're going to talk about a couple things this evening. First, should you become a truck driver in 2023? And then secondly, if you are a truck driver or going to become one, we're going to talk about what you should make as a company driver, cent per mile. What you should make as a company driver, cent per mile. Not going to talk about leases, not going to talk about that. That's a whole nother thing. Most leases are scams. If there are any good ones out there, to be honest, I don't know of any right off the top of my head. Most of them are scams. Okay, so let's talk about it. Should you become a truck driver in 2023? If you're sitting at the house right now, watching this video, thinking about becoming a truck driver, thinking this is something you might want to get into this year, let's discuss that. The short answer is, if you have a job at home, the answer is no. I wouldn't be coming into trucking in 2023, and I'm going to tell you why. With the things going on overseas, sickness that just ended, and a few things like that, there's a major freight shortage. That freight shortage has caused quite a bit of drop in miles. You know, we're not getting as many miles. That guy needs to slow down. We're not getting as many miles out here as we were getting last year. You know, the economy is not in real good shape, so that's hurt us a little bit. There's already too many drivers, to be honest with you. And the more drivers that come to the industry, it's just splitting those loads even more. You know, it's making it harder on the owner-operators out here. It's making it harder on the existing drivers out here. It's taking that little bit of money that is out there and splitting it up even more. So, no, I wouldn't become a truck driver in 2023. That's not to say that I would never become a truck driver. I just wouldn't do it in 2023. If you're wanting to become a truck driver, I'd wait a little while. If you got a job at the house, you're working in a warehouse, or whatever it is that you're doing, I would stick with that for probably another year. Let the economy do its thing. Let the economy recover. Let everything start coming back up before jumping into trucking. That way, you're gonna have a better chance of making a better living, right? You're not gonna put yourself and your family in a bind trying to survive out here. It's very expensive to live out here. Trying to survive out here at the same time trying to pay bills at home on a failing market and a bad economy. All right, so that's just that. No, not saying, you know, I'm sure a bunch of you are not going to listen. I'm just saying that if it were me, I wouldn't come into the industry in 2023. If you are in the industry, you know, I remember when I first started, my first couple years, you know, I spent 4 years at my first company. And I remember wondering, like, am I making what I should be making? Or could I make more? Am I being overpaid, underpaid? Am I making average? You know, and you kind of watch and listen in the industry, trying to figure out, look at the other websites, trying to figure out where you're at, right? I used to listen to some of our experienced drivers and some of the podcasts, and I try to get it together, you know. So I figured I would do something. I did one last year, and I'm going to do it again right now, where we talk about what you should be making if you are a truck driver in 2023. Now, this is with more than a year, because most people spend their first year at a starting company, and even if they leave their first company, they're going to spend their first year at what we call starter companies or bottom feeder companies. They tend to not pay all that well. They know that they hire rookie drivers and they're just not going to pay all that well normally. So that is what it is. But after your first 12 months out here, your options of who you can go to work for are greatly increased, right? There's a whole lot more, and every year you're out here, you get more and more options. Once you've been out here about 3 years, you can go to work for just about anybody as long as you've kept a clean record, you know, accidents and tickets and all that kind of stuff, right? And you don't have late loads on your reports, and you know, good references and stuff like that. With your after your first year, if you got more than 1 year and you're out here right now, if you're making below 52 cents a mile, screwed, just to put it plainly. I see people online all the time, they'll gripe, man. You know, I saw one earlier today which actually prompted this video, and the guy was like, well, these companies shouldn't be paying 45 cents a mile. Well, look, you don't own the company, and you can't tell the company what they should or shouldn't pay. It's not your company. You just work there. You know, all I can say is if you're working there at 45 cents a mile, you're doing that by your own choice, because there's plenty of companies out here that pay a whole lot more than that. So if you're working somewhere at 45, 46, 48, 49 cents, even 50 cents, and you're not happy with it, go to work for a different company. Because you can't gripe about it. You're doing it by your own choice. Because, I mean, I can probably think 8 or 9 companies right off the top of my head that are above 52 cents. Where I work at now is 70 cents. You know, when I left Crete, I was making 63. You know, so I mean, I'm not understanding why. Well, I do understand it. Drivers want more money, but they don't want to have to change companies. You know, they might be getting home every weekend, or maybe they're getting home every 3 or 4 days, and they don't want to have to stay out longer or start over somewhere else. They may not have another company may not have a contract by their house, but still, that's their own choice. It's not the company, that's their own choice, because they don't have to work there. You as a driver are making a choice to work there, so you can't really gripe about the pay. If you don't like the pay, go to work somewhere that pays more. It's pretty simple. There's a ton of companies, tons of them out here that do. Now there's a few ways drivers kind of justify making less money. You know, they'll say, well, I only make 45 cents here, but I get a lot of miles. Look, man, I've been all over the industry. I've worked for a ton of companies out here. You know, I've worked for Celadon, I worked for U.S. Express, Stevens Transport, Decker Truck Lines, Creek Carriers, Waller, Tri-High Transportation, Poly Trucking. And I've worked for a bunch of them. All different kinds of rates, all different kinds of pay. You know, and I've never noticed that much of a difference at all, if any at all, between companies that pay more by the mile and companies that pay less by the mile when it comes to miles. They're typically about the same. I don't get no more, no less miles now at 70 cents than I did back in the day, you know, when I was at a whole lot less, you know, or even when I was at Crete at 63 cents a mile. It's about the same, you know. 2,500 miles a week is generally the average. That's what I figure a paycheck at whenever I'm looking at a new company and what they pay. I figured at 2,500 miles a week. Can you run more? Yes. You know, you can run steady 3,000 miles a week if you work your logs right. You know what you're doing. And they got the freight, you know, but I always figured at 2,500 miles a week. That's a safe, conservative estimate when figuring out what I would make at another company, or what I should make at another company. It's like a self-manipulation to tell yourself, well, I'll justify making 45 cents a mile while the driver passing me in the left lane's making 65 cents a mile because I get more miles than him. And, well, number one, it's probably not true. And number two, you're just fooling yourself. And let's say you did get more miles than him. Then he's probably making the same paycheck and he's working half as hard as you. So either way you look bad. Either way you lose out. You know, so that's my 2 cents on that. But if you're making less than 52, 53 cents a mile, I don't know what you're doing. If you got more than a year out here and you're making less than that, you really need to look for another company, in my opinion. You should be above 60 cents a mile. There should be no problem to get above 60 cents a mile. I can think 1, 2, 3, 4. I can think 4 companies right now that pay more than 60 cents a mile. And that's not even Googling. That's just looking right off the top of my head, knowing what other companies pay. There's 4 right off the top that pay 60 cents a mile or more. You know, so drivers, don't gripe about what you make. If you ain't happy with what you make, get on somewhere else and make more money. Because you're an employee. You're not going to be, even if you're leasing or whatever, you're still an employee over there. You're not going to be able to change what that company pays. You can cry, gripe, and whine all you want to, but it ain't going to do anything for you. Now, if you quit there and go to work somewhere else that pays more, then you're fixing the problem. You don't have to cry, gripe, or whine about it. You can fix it. Anyway, y'all take care. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. Oh, look, now the reefer cuts off. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. And keep trucking.
That's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I came to play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me. Then I double up again under their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted. So I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close. I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke. I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious.